No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
The fact is, no one is above the law.
The idea that no person is above the law is a bedrock principle of American justice.
No man is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one else is above the law, including a president.
Nobody is above the law.
That no one, not even the president, is above the law.
And that no one is above the law.
No one is above the law, and our president is not above the law.
My message is simple. No matter how powerful you are, no matter how much money you think you may have, no one is above the law.
Welcome back to the Jay Revardo Show, and do we have a show for you today? Do we? Of course we do, and on today's episode we have Letitia James, and she's getting all the karma that she deserves. It's knocking on her front door. We have Bondi teaming up with John Kennedy on the stand on how the FBI and the Biden administration were teaming up together to throw their antics in the game. That shade has come to light. We also have an infamous interview that is going around the world, including Katie Porter doing what she does best, and that's missing the point on everything. We're going to watch Letitia James fumble all over the place. We're going to watch the Democrats meltdown and break it all down together on the Jay Revardo Show. Roll it.
So New York Attorney General Letitia James facing federal mortgage fraud charges after prosecutors say she falsely claimed a home in Virginia as her second residence while using it as a rental property. A federal grand jury finding that she was then able to obtain more optimal loan terms. Well, James now faces a 2-count indictment, including 1 count of bank fraud and 1 count of making false statements to a financial institution. Each count carries a potential sentence of up to 30 years in prison and up to $1 million in fine and forfeiture.
This is nothing more than a continuation of the president's desperate weaponization of our justice system. These charges are baseless, and the president's own public statements make clear that his only goal is political retribution at any cost. I stand strongly behind my office's litigation against the Trump Organization.
Critics of President Trump say he called on the Justice Department to bring charges against James as retribution for previous lawsuits she brought against the commander-in-chief during his first term.
They've said it for years. No one is above the law. But somehow the rules only apply one way. Let's talk about it.
Something that those in the administration and federal prosecutors, of course, deny. The U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia say this, quote, no one is above the law. The charges as alleged in this case represent intentional criminal acts and tremendous breaches of the public's trust. James is set to be arraigned on October 24th, guys.
Well. The no one is above the law crowd finally gets its front row seat in court. How poetic.
You really can't talk about weaponization when you have a person that campaigned on getting Donald Trump and then did it once they became the attorney general. I just don't have the appetite to hear about.
She would sit in the court, kick off her shoes, and just watch the whole trial every single day.
I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president.
We're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the He's going to know my name personally.
I look forward to going into the office of Attorney General every day, suing him.
Letitia James had TDS so bad that she segued her whole entire career. She was she was the Attorney General. She became the chief of Trump derangement syndrome.
Tish getting what she dished. New York AG Letitia James indicted on mortgage fraud. After spending years weaponizing the courts against Trump and his businesses, she's suddenly crying foul about weaponization.
Of the president's desperate weaponization of our justice system. These charges are baseless.
But CNN says, what's the big deal? Everybody commits a little mortgage fraud.
What Tish James, and again, we're still getting the details, but if it's related to this mortgage issue, I mean, this is something that everyone in America, or many people at least, if you're lucky enough to be able to buy a house in America, you deal with this.
Okay, so I want to bring in a really heavy point. When the Democrats have to broadcast something on Donald Trump, they have to make sure that it's major and majorly negative. Like, say, for instance, he just now did a peace deal with Hamas and Israel. I haven't heard a peep. And if I have heard peep, it was from Hillary Clinton, oddly enough.
For decades, Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State in the Obama administration, and Condoleezza Rice was Secretary of State in the George W. Bush administration. Does this diplomatic breakthrough make you hopeful about what's next?
Nora, it does. It's a really significant first step, and I really commend President Trump and his administration, as well as Arab leaders in the region, for making the commitment to the 20-point plan and seeing a path forward for what's often called the day after.
The current now in the modern media, and even Hillary Clinton, it probably took someone to put a battery in her back, a screw, and some other mechanical devices for her to get on television and say that with a straight. I don't know if it was her. It could have been AI. But there hasn't been enough kudos for Donald Trump on that. And then we have the Abraham Agreement and 8 other wars. He hasn't got any kudos for that. He won't get any props for that. He won't receive the Nobel Peace Prize for that, because it's Donald Trump.
Yes, it seems obvious. And here's what I hate the most about the commentary. The concept that either everyone does it or that it's no big deal is such an affront to the millions of Americans that get that pit in our stomach every year when we see the audit or the IRS and have to do our taxes and actually go overboard to make sure that every penny lines up. I have had friends audited for less than a few $1,000s. I've had clients that have been audited in the $30,000 range or less. And I did a snapshot of what happens in just 1 year. And in 1 year alone, for example, the U.S. Sentencing Commission has over 57,000 mortgage fraud offenses referred to them. That is that specific charge referred to them. The FBI investigating almost 4,000 in 1 year.
But Letitia James has a team of people backing her up for the crimes that she has committed. Let alone Donald Trump committed whatever they thought he committed. They chastised him like he was Jesus Christ. But Letitia James actually committed fraud that we can clearly see on paper. And they're like, no, there's no there. Roll it.
Just as part of a bigger trend of the President of the United States using the Department of Justice, using the legal system to go after political adversaries, using the arms of our democracy to go after political adversaries. It's just a broken way to do politics.
I love this because the Dems thought they had a solid, like 95% gamble. You could hunt Trump down and hunt other Republicans down under the assumption that they're finished, they're done. But
I want to jump in really quickly and say, first of all, precisely to Greg, and see, the Dems had Letitia James and AOC and the rest of the Klan hyped up on Mountain Dew. They was all hyped up on TDS syndrome and jacked up on all type of different things. We don't know what they were on, but I do know one thing for sure. They thought that when they were prosecuting Trump in an imaginative world and an imagination for Walt Disney on MSNBC, featuring Abby Phillips on CNN and the Joy in the Morning people. They thought that Trump would be gone, finito, finished. The only people in the echo chamber, the only people in the echo chamber when they thought that Trump was done, finito, when they thought that he was complete and wrapped up, zipped up, and sent off to Never Never Land, they started a party. They started ranting and raving. She started showing up with her shoes off at court, just smiling at the camera, never thinking about karma, how karmatic things could get for her.
as they say, if you go for the king, you better make sure the job is done. Trump is now the man with no name in High Plains Drifter. They thought they had him, but now he's painting the town red. You can call it revenge, but I'll get to that. Turnabout is fair play. Remember, nothing that Trump does, whether he doesn't do this or not, is going to affect the Democrats' behavior after this.
Okay, so speaking of that, we have Senator Featherman on Fox, and he's speaking about how the Democrats are hypocritical on the simple fact that, of course, Donald J. Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Even the people overseas are saying that. They're so submerged in Donald Trump derangement syndrome that they can't even see that the whole world is agreeing on this one topic. Roll the clip.
What is your reaction to this peace plan and these expectations that the hostages will begin to come home tomorrow?
absolute elation. I mean, how can we all celebrate this thing? I mean, you've had human beings held underground for over 2 years and tortured and beaten and starved, forced to dig their own graves and things. Now they can finally come back home. And now everyone should be celebrating these things. And clearly the Palestinians are, and people in Israel are too. And now there are people in our nation, some of those aren't really celebrating or even acknowledging a thing. And that's part of the truth there too. It really was never about peace. It was more about an anti-Israel agenda. And now why can't we all, whatever, where you are politically, this is a huge development. And this terrible, awful war is going to come to an end. And now you can rebuild Gaza, and these families are now reunited. That's a big thing, and it's a strange time if you can't celebrate this.
Yeah, and I saw your tweet, congratulating President Trump on this incredible moment in time. It really is a head scratcher, as you see some people just refusing to acknowledge what an incredible moment this is after this 2 years.
I agree. Wow. It's like I even said that in my tweet. It's like, yeah, our party's different, but this is a big, huge win for peace in this world, and it's entirely appropriate to do that. And if you're not willing to acknowledge that, you're ironically pointing out the absurdity and making it more personal when we can't all celebrate this peace after this awful war after 2 years.
Yes, of course. And I feel like
most definitely he put it in the most perfect way possible. I haven't heard a Democrat display that vernacular ever. Okay, it was articulate and it was correct and it was concise and it was truth. Thank you. Now, why doesn't anyone else on the left do that? I don't know. They're crazy because obviously, did you see the video? Did you see the crowd of people celebrating the fact that the war is over? Their family members are coming home. Their children are no longer going to have to suffer. I'm sorry. He sees it, but no one else on the left sees it. He's a senator, but there's a congresswoman who can't even answer questions. She doesn't even want to be held accountable after 2 questions, after 1 question, really. And she has a bad attitude. Let's check it out.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, man?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%? Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're saying.
In a general election? Yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win the people who did not vote for Trump.
What if it's you versus another Democrat?
I don't intend that to be the case.
So how do you not intend that to be the case? Are you going to ask them not to run?
No, I'm saying I'm going to build the support. I have the support already in terms of name recognition. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to do the very best I can to make sure that we get through this primary in a really strong position. But let me be clear with you. I represented Orange County. I represented a purple area. Mm-hmm. I have stood on my own 2 feet and won Republican votes before. That's not something every candidate in this race can say. If you're from a deep blue area, if you're from LA or you're from Oakland, you don't have an experience.
But you just said you don't need those Trump voters.
Well, you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't think
I feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
correct. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written, and I'll answer it.
And we've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters, okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered.
I don't care.
Follow-ups.
I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list. And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And we're
Porter,
just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never had to do
reporter.
this before, ever.
Woo! She said, I've never had to answer real questions before back to back. Don't you dare, ever in your life, bring me on TV to do your job. We're supposed to edit this. I roll it.
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end
a
an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make.
Going to answer questions from reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So nearly every legislative...
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you, and I don't want this all on camera.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you either. I would love to continue to ask these questions so that we can show our viewers what every candidate feels about every one of these issues that they care about. And redistricting is a massive issue. We're going to do an entire story just on the responses to that question. And I've asked everybody the same follow-up question.
Okay, so I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you is a wild statement to make. After she made the experience unhappy. This is what I'm saying. They can't even identify the wrong that they do. And speaking of that, I have John Kennedy teaming up with Pam Bondi, showing how hypocritical the FBI once was. Now, I know you remember when Obama and Joe Biden controlled the FBI. Recently, it was controlled by the Joe Biden administration. Now, the Joe Biden administration ran the FBI, and they went after Trump in all type of sinister ways. And what they did not realize was this one thing that I learned in elementary school. Karma is a...
Let's suppose that I'm appointed special counsel at the Department of Justice. And I go to the telecommunication companies, the phone companies. Let's single out AT&T, and I say, look, I know you're busy, but I want to see a copy of the phone records of a sitting United States senator. They're not going to just give them to me, are they?
No, Senator, of course not.
In fact, they're probably going to ask me what planet I just parachuted in from, aren't they?
Yes, Senator.
They're going to tell me to come back with a subpoena, aren't they?
Yes, Senator.
Okay. What do I have to show in that subpoena to get those phone records of a sitting? Did I mention it was a sitting United States senator? I can't remember. What do I have to show?
If you don't love John Kennedy, you are a hater of the truth. John Kennedy is the most concise attorney turned senator. I mean, he's concise, pivotal, precise, strategic, tactical. You gotta love him. Roll the clip.
To get the phone records of a sitting United States senator.
Yes, Senator, there were actually 8 sitting United States
Yeah, I
senators,
heard that.
and you would have
Heard
to
that.
have cause.
I'm sorry, what do I have to show?
You would have to have cause to get the
Good
subpoena.
cause or probable cause?
Probable cause.
Okay. Probable cause, or if it's a subpoena, deuces take 'em, good cause. To show what?
You would need good cause for a subpoena ducis tecum, and what you would have to show is that you believed a crime had been committed, or there was a possibility of a crime, or that could lead to other crimes. We
By the
frequently, in criminal enterprises, subpoena cell
by the
phones.
sitting United States senator.
Senator, they would have to have believed you were part of a criminal conspiracy, is my understanding.
Would a judge have to sign off on it?
John Kennedy has the best way of displaying intelligence. Now, mind you, Pam Bondi is intelligent. However, she said some intelligent things and some non-intelligent things in the past, and we can all account for doing that once or twice in our lives. You guys remember when she made that statement about freedom of speech and hate speech? We all wondered what was wrong with her. Okay, so that's fine. But this is how you display intelligence. John Kennedy is sparring with her, teaming up, and asking the right questions. Roll it.
On the subpoena?
Yes, Senator. Well, for subpoena ducis tecum, Jack Smith probably took it straight to the judge.
Now, the phone companies, particularly their general counsel, if they're worried about civil liability, even with a subpoena to get the phone records of a sitting United States senator. Did I mention it was a sitting United States senator?
Yes, Senator.
The general counsel for that phone company, let's say AT&T, they have the right to seek to quash that subpoena, don't they?
Phone companies frequently do that.
Yeah. And a smart general counsel for that phone company is going to call the sitting United States senator and say, would you like to weigh in on this? Would you like me to quash the subpoena? We're talking about invading someone's privacy here by a sitting United States senator. Could the general counsel for the phone company do that?
Well, Senator, if they believe that a crime could have been committed, they could not tip off the person who committed the crime. Again, I can't comment on details of this particular case.
I'm just asking you theoretically.
I've never seen you commit a crime, Senator Kennedy.
But let's suppose, okay, they didn't want to tip off the sitting United States senator. But the phone company and the general counsel for the phone company, or companies, if there were more than one involved, could say, this is serious as an aneurysm. This is serious as 4 heart attacks and a stroke. This is a sitting United States senator. So general counsel would likely advise the CEO, well, you need to file a motion to quash. The telephone companies could have contested those subpoenas, could they not?
Hypothetically, yes. I can't talk about the facts of this particular case.
We're talking hypothetical.
Senator, subpoenas are issued all the time through phone companies working with the general counsel.
But they can file a motion to quash.
They could, yes.
Yeah.
In any case.
And if they should have filed a motion to quash, and a reasonable person would have filed a motion to quash, because this is a sitting United States senator, and they didn't file a motion to quash, they would incur civil liability, wouldn't they?
Senator, typically phone companies follow a subpoena from a United States attorney.
I know they do, but they don't have to.
They could challenge it, Senator.
Yeah. And if they don't challenge it, they better have a damn good reason. Right? Right?
Senator, I can't talk about the facts of this particular
This is just
case.
a hypothetical.
In general, hypothetically, Senator, maybe they didn't recognize any of the names of the 8 sitting United States senators.
Hypothetically.
That was a joke.
Or maybe they should have gone to Amazon and buy some testicles online.
Okay. All right, so that's John Kennedy showing us that he still has it for sure. He's still witty, and he still has a way of holding the government accountable for their actions. He teamed up with Pam Bondi, and they showed us how to do it. Now, I'm going to explain what happened in that segment. During the Joe Biden administration, they wiretapped, the FBI was given the go-ahead, they were given the green light to go ahead and wiretap sitting senators, their cell phones, invading their privacy, getting information of who knows what knows who. Okay, but there was no quashing. No one told the sitting senators. No one said anything to anyone. It was kind of done in secrecy, which is usually done when it's an investigation, but this is a special situation. And Pam Bondi and John Kennedy came together to show us exactly what happened and how it happened in chronological order without really saying anything. Because remember, this is an ongoing investigation. Okay, So let's recap this really quickly so we can digest this together. We have Letitia James signing off on falsified documents so she can benefit financially. And there is no word, not a peep, from the crowd of ethics on her side. Then we have Katie Porter, the progressive face of accountability. She cannot hold water. She can't hold weight because when the pressure comes, she wants to back out and have a happy conversation or experience. Then we have finally Senator John Kennedy and Pam Bondi. They're showing us together that accountability still exists in America. Okay, so what we're seeing isn't just corruption. It was normalization of hypocrisy, a political system where the rules apply to everyone except the people who were making the rules. But here we call them out every time. I'm Jay Revardo, and that is what real oversight looks like and sounds like. And until next time, be strong, be courageous, and as always, I love you. And you know I do.